Yeah, we'll practice round at WeMo. A lot of people here. We're playing the long pin 372. Plays a little longer than 372 with the line you have to take, but you gotta worry about this OB road, which Dave may or may not have found. I don't know. So I didn't really get to talk much there on the tee box. There's a lot of people here practicing for this tournament. That's what this video is, actually. It's a practice round video for a doubles event me and Dave are going to play. And we're playing one round here at WeMo, and there's a temp course here that's going to be put up. Not sure if I'll get to film the temp course, but everything's in pretty much the long pin position at WeMo for this tournament, except for like maybe one hole. But all my drives kind of landed in this collective area. Really on this hole, it's just about trying to stay in balance and probably get par. It does play closer to 400 feet just based on the line you have to throw from the tee, and with this big OB road right, it's a pretty skinny fairway, because if you get up in there, you're kind of in jail. You have to really line it up right, but I can sometimes get the circle too if I get a good throw, get a good skip, but all these are just basically pitch ups for par, which is fine. No harm in taking a par on this hole when it's in the long pin position. Short pin position is one you kind of want to get though. All right, hole 2 is a shorty, but a little technical. Kind of have to, I mean, the best shot's kind of a forehand outlet that you try to skip up to the basket, but there are definitely some trees blocking that lane. Backhand turnover also works, but tight gaps. Skip the wrong direction. Rip. My play's probably justice here. Something overstable. It's not bad. Just putting. Sorry for the road noises. Be a little more outside, that'd be perfect. All right, hole 3, dead ahead. It's kind of 2 lanes, but they're both really tight. Just under 300 feet, or right at 300 feet right there. On this course, it's gonna be best score in the doubles competition. So a little bit tougher format on this course. That's good. Safe chop forehand to make sure I get par. Backhand's tough on this hole. Got to be perfect. That's where the little cheater forehand landed, which kind of just guarantees you an upshot for par without having to worry about the tight gaps off the tee. You just play wide right, or wide left rather, where it's more open. My other shot skipped up there. It's close to pin high, but way left, so definitely would be a par as well. They've had some good backhands on this hole though, but this is a tough one to get. It's just a decent distance, and the lanes are pretty tight. Hole 4 is kind of a blind left to right shot. It kind of takes a sawed-off forehand to get up there. There's a couple of gaps you can punch through. Don't need to go very far. Just need to cut right. Actually, it was a good line. It's caught a tree on the way in. Might be a little too far forward. I kind of found the deep gap. Perfect. Also perfect. Both of those are birds. So here's a short gap that you usually want to hit to try to skip in. This Justice just caught one of these trees on the way in to skipping up to the basket, but the other 2 got through the gap and made it up there. There's also like a deep gap just past those 2 big trees, but skinnier. And it's like pin high, and you can kind of go that route as well. But I think this gap is probably the bigger one to hit, but you just really have to have good distance control. All right, hole 2, or excuse me. All right, hole 5, just over 200 feet, dead straight ahead, kind of one of those little gauntlet holes. Only thing I don't like about this hole is there's a tree literally right in the middle of the fairway, which I wish wasn't there. Just that one right in the center, but everything else pretty fair. But just gotta try to get around it. Stripped a little too right, but it's not bad. Not there. So my biggest issue lately with the backhands is pulling them right. That's a solid shot from Dave, just maybe a little too much fade. Up there, that's in the circle. Try to envy on just a little touch of Annie. That's perfect. So hole 6 is in the long pin position for this tournament, so it's about 390. It plays a little downhill, but it's really tucked into these woods at the very end. The obvious line is playing something left to right up this left lane, which for me would be a forehand, and I can get to the short pin for a birdie putt, but the long pin, I can't really reach it. So probably just gonna play a forehand out left, play it safe, just play for par since it's in the long pin position. There's a chance I might risk something like on a big backhand turnover and maybe get down there to circle 2, but more than likely I'm gonna just throw a forehand. Kind of moved you to see the lane a little bit better, but wanted you to see the basket first. Again, that's really great for the short pin, but I just cannot throw a forehand 380 feet, even if it is a little downhill. It's just tough. It's a good safe shot. Dave, honestly, I would do that. I think this is just a par hole when it's in the long pin position. I mean, you have to have a perfect shot. See, my forehand made it right next to the short pin. Easy tap-in birdie if it was there, but it's in the long pin, so just gonna be an upshot. Might practice a couple from a little bit further back, honestly, just to get a feel for it. That was a fine. Right, so now we're on hole 7. Basket's off to the right just a touch. You can kind of see the edge of the basket there by next to that tree. It's kind of similar to hole 2, similar distance, but honestly it's kind of a poke and hope hole. I don't like it. Gaps are mega small, trees right in the middle of the fairway, like just kind of a dumb filler hole in my opinion, but you do what you can on this property, I guess. This hole's dumb, real dumb. $200 feet straight ahead. Kind of just want to play this right hand side, hyzer over the ditch. Dave just kind of yanked it right a little bit. That's a good throw. Oh, hit the basket. Hold on. Flex the zone up there. Almost got 2 battle hits. All right, hole 9, 315-ish. Basket is a blind shot up to the right, and there's a hill you have to go up on the right-hand side, so it plays a little longer because you have to kind of go up the hill. You kind of also want to play your forehand a little more inside than you think, just because you need to get right. Dave going for the harder backhand turnover play. That's a good line, though. It's just hard to keep it on turn and not have it fade out away from the basket on the backhand. But it can be done. You just really want to make sure on a forehand you don't press too far forward. If you don't get right enough, then you have a really long look at the basket. So that's why I said playing it a little more hyzer, a little more inside actually is probably beneficial. But obviously you want to make sure you get to this gap. So like that's probably not forward enough, but it's definitely close to right enough. Just didn't get much power on that one. Easy par from there though. Yeah, just fills it out. Again, good par play. That's right enough, but probably not forward enough. That's a good line. Sorry y'all can't really see this, but not the ideal hole for filming. Too understable, I think. Might be all right. Round's putting, as he says. So yeah, the backhand turnover is a little more technical, but just depends on who you are as a player, what you like best. There's the basket right there up to the right. You can see it's like kind of perched up on a hill there on the right-hand side. My forehands came up a little bit short, but the backhand's actually putting. I'll show you when I get there. So yeah, this forehand and that forehand over there, just short. Backhand actually is like a 30-footer right there on the bottom of the hill. So just gotta get the power right. Didn't really have a lot of pop on my forehands, unfortunately. Dave got pin high on his throws. They just kind of faded out on him a little bit. Yeah, this is a tough hole to film because the tee box is right up on that hill, like the back of it. So I have no space behind it to put my cameras. I have to kind of put my thing on top of the hill. So you're not gonna be able to really see the full throw, unfortunately, on this, but it's just a straight mid or putter shot, basically, right at the basket. You could also like put some ante on a backhand and flex it over the tall stuff and have it fade back towards the basket. Whichever you prefer. A little flex backhand. That'll work. I like that. Oh, got there. So now on hole 11, they actually kept this one in the short pin position for the tournament. It's like 225, blind shot up to the right, but it's up on the hill on the left. So if you play a forehand up there, it can maybe sometimes skip a little too far right away from the basket. A flex backhand is actually the best play. Like if you can have a backhand that turns right and then comes back left, that's like the perfect shape for the hole because you kind of want to be on the slope on the left to have a good putt. But a forehand for a righty player certainly also works. Just kind of whatever you feel most comfortable with. I'm still not really sure what I like best on this hole, honestly. I kind of like just throwing a forehand to make sure I get through the gap and at least have some kind of look at the basket. I'm glad they kept this in short pins. I feel like deep pin's impossible. That's a par 3 to birdie. That was a good plan. Oh, and I got the skip left. Let's go. That's perfect. Actually got through. Wow, that's a putt. That's kind of lucky. That's the thing I like about the backhand, though, is like you kind of have to hang it on like an ante through the gap, and you can kind of catch that right-hand side. Whereas the forehand, as long as you don't press it too far into that left corner, you're usually going to be fine. There's a basket right there. As you can see, there's actually some trees that kind of block the front side of the basket, so you might have an obstructed putt if you're short of the pin. Being a little bit long of the pin kind of gets you away from those trees to have an open putt, but usually if you can just get up there, you can straddle and still find a gap to putt through and still have like a decent 20-footer to get your birdie. Hole 12, 215 feet, little downhill tunnel shot. You can kind of see the basket right there. Honestly, I think this hole shapes up best for a forehand, like a flex forehand for a righty player, just because the right side's more easy to scramble from. If you go in early left, you're basically wasting a shot just getting back out. But like a flip up backhand certainly can play. But again, a forehand, even if you miss right, you can usually get up and down for par. So that's kind of my play usually. Nothing wrong with that. That's a guaranteed par at least. That's a little more stable on a similar line. Make it through?
Yeah, I think it's it.
That's pretty solid. I like that second one. The first one wasn't even bad. That's still a guaranteed par. And see, that's a decent shot because even though Dave didn't get much progress, he stayed in the center or the right-hand side, which is a guaranteed par from there. So my first forehand was a little overturned, but it's still an easy up and down for par. Dave, even though he was short center fairway, has a long putt at it, guaranteed par pretty much. And then the second one I threw that had a little more stability is like a pin high, maybe 20-footer for birdie. So there you go. That's how the hole plays. All right, so now we're at 13, blind uphill shot, only about 160 feet to the pin though, but it plays a little longer than that because it's so uphill. There used to be a fence that played OB deep, but they actually backed the fence up a lot, so that's not really in play anymore. But really just want to make sure you hit the gap, stay pretty center cut, fade left, and just try to get over the hump. You don't have to throw it very far forward. If anything, you want to just hyzer out left really hard, but you need enough distance to at least crest the hill. But really the priority is more hyzering left than anything. That's probably decent. It might not have gotten left enough. Depends on what kind of ground action it got. But yeah, you really don't need to go too far forward at all on this hole. You'll see in a second. That is a perfect shot from Dave. Honestly, that's probably parked. Like that's the exact type of hyzer angle you want, where you just want to be going left pretty much the whole time. We'll try something a little more overstable. Oh, I pushed it too wide right. That's still not bad though. Kick left. Dude, there's the basket there, and as you can see, it's very close to the top of the hill. So you just got to get left. That's where we actually came from. And then it's just way left. We don't have to go very far. Like I said, that fence used to be closer to where Dave is standing, but they backed it up. So now it's a little easier to stay in bounds on this hole. But yeah, all of our shots are pretty good. All right, hole 14, 200 feet, dead straight ahead. Another one of those like little tunnel gauntlet shots. Very skinny fairway. Definitely trees guarding both the left and right hand sides the whole way down. Probably never longer than like 8 to 10 feet wide at any point. And it kind of gets to about maybe 6 to 7 feet wide once you get past the initial gap. So definitely requires a very accurate backhand, just straight backhand to go to the basket. You can also maybe do like a straight flip up forehand that drifts a little right. Wouldn't be too bad of a problem. Just to be able to keep your eye on the target the whole time. I'm not really sure what I want to do on this hole yet. I usually throw forehand on this hole just dead straight and play to the right hand side. But we'll see. I mean, that was a good shot. Just barely caught that tree on the right hand side. Not bad. Might just throw a forehand, honestly. Even if I'm in the right hand side, at least get up and down for par. Or see, I mean, that gets me up there. That's still a putt.
Lane slope like that.
Make it roll left. I think I like forehand here still. Like that's what I originally did on this hole a long time ago, and
That's what I'm saying, because lane's going up like that, so you're going to hit like that.
yeah.
Either go straight.
The only issue would be like early release, early right. It'll be like the only trouble I can get into. But yeah, I like straight forehand here. That's probably gonna be the play for the tournament. Backhand's just so touchy. You have to be perfect. All right, so now we're on 215 feet. It's very similar to the last hole, except for the basket being slightly left. This one's slightly right, and it's up a hill to the right. So it plays a little longer because of that. But another one of your typical tunnel gauntlet shots. Just throw your straightest shot possible. That's really all there is to it.
The ditch ain't gonna be open this year.
Thank Lord. Yeah. All right, hole 16, keeping a theme of blind shots that happen a lot on this course. Need something that moves left to right. There's the big Y tree, then the two little pines to the right of that. If you can kind of get something to the right of those two little pines and just have it keep flaring right, you can usually get to the basket. Oh my God. That was a perfect line, and it has caught a stupid stump. That was the line you want to do, though, just higher so you don't hit the stump that I hit. Throw the boss on hyzer. You don't need any forward distance really. You just need to skip left hard or skip right hard. That's two inside. Yeah, that works too. That's fine. Oh, a little more forward. Decent line though. That's perfect. Yep. That should be a putt for birdie. There's one that caught the stump, so it didn't skip right enough. That was the one that was two inside up there. And that was the one that I said I threw perfect, which I did, pretty much parked. So that's the hole. Just got to get down here to the right. Like I said, there's like an OB line by that stump. So you can't push too far forward off the tee or you'll wind up OB on this hole if there's lines painted. So now we're on 17. The traditional route is up this way and then it goes way up to the left. You can see the basket kind of through these trees right there in the center of the screen. Like I said, the traditional route is to kind of play something through this tunnel and have it skip really hard left. So I'll show you that first and I'll show you a cheater gap. This is another one of those holes where kind of like, what was that, 13 where we throw uphill on? You kind of don't need to get too forward, just need to get really left. Dave was trying to do like a little flex forehand line that's there, but I have an easier way that I like to do it. I'll show you in a second. But if you want to try to birdie the hole, a big skipping backhand's probably the play. Something like that. You can push too far forward with that. Wow. Yeah, you really got to be short on the distance, but just really left. So I had the right angle on that, but still went too forward. That's good from Dave. That's it. That's putting. That's still putting. You were one tree away, though, from almost being parked. That is putting for birdie for sure, right?
No, you're a ways away. I'm telling you. Years away. I promise you are. This is the gap right here.
Dave, I promise you that disc I'm looking at right now is circle one for birdie.
Yeah, but when you get up there, you'll see it this time.
I mean, it's probably congested, but it's like there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's decent. It's just short. It didn't get up the hill enough.
Yeah, so you can't throw it high enough and inside enough.
All right, let me show you the cheater gap. Dave, come here. I need your assistance for this. There you go. All right, so here's a cheater gap. Guarantees you a par. I need you to come over here. Got me?
Yeah, I guess.
So there's a rule that, you know, you have to have both your feet on the tee box when you throw, but if you pick your foot up when you throw, then it doesn't count as being illegal. And there's this lane, like literally right here, that I can throw a forehand through for an easy par. So I literally just straddle out like this, and then pick up my foot and throw.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta embrace the suck.
That is just straight cheater, easy par.
Throw it through that gap.
What, this? How do you not understand? Can you show them this gap, please?
Yes. You
I
throw
know-
a flex
Get-
forehand.
Right, look at this big old hallway
That's
I'm
nothing.
throwing
You
through.
throw it through this one.
Look at me. Look at me. Oh, another easy par right there. Look at that.
You want to birdie it here. I'm telling you.
He was hating on my cheater gap shot, but look at that thing putting for birdie right there. Look at that. The cheater gap forehand, just a perfect birdie putt. Then my backhands kind of just went up where Dave is, a little too far forward off the tee, didn't get left enough. The one Pyro did, it's kind of up there, you can kind of see the blue. That is pin high for a putt, but probably obstructed with trees in the way. All right, so now we're on hole 18, the only par 4 on the layout in the long pin position. The basket is a dog leg right around this baseball fence. You can see it right there. Now, these silver light poles used to be Mandos, where you have to be to the left of them, but they shifted the baseball fence kind of more to the right of the pole. It used to be right up on the pole. And for this tournament, these poles are not playing as Mandos, so you can throw a hyzer over the fence and be fine. And it's a par 4 at only 500 feet, so you don't really have to throw it very far. So I'm thinking either a forehand just to the left of this first light pole and have it skip right towards the fence, have an upshot for birdie, or throw a backhand over the fence, kind of towards that scoreboard, land near that scoreboard area, probably have an easy up and down for your birdie as well. That's my guesses. With no Mandos in play, that's what I'm thinking. Just gotta make sure that you do make it, you know, over the fence and don't get stuck in there, because the fence does still play as OB. Yeah, I mean, that's just like all day in a great landing spot. Probably 250 to the pin from there. I didn't even throw it that far. It's a great shot from Dave. He's probably in a similar spot to me. Yep. That's good. How about a slowboard? I'll do a couple forehands today, so just hug the fence. I'm gonna try a couple forehands really quick. Depends on the wind. If I have like a big tailwind, I might go forehand and try to skip right. That's perfect. That gets me around the corner and gives me a shorter up shot. I kind of like that. Don't mind Dave. He's not in any danger. I'm going to yell 4 though real quick just to scare him. 4! Oh, he looked before I said it. I can't troll him. He looked. He looked before I could say it. Dang it. I can't troll Dave. He was ready. Look at my spread. My backhand that I threw first landed right here along the scoreboard. Kind of have like a backhand upshot, kind of to the right of the second pole, kind of left of the baseball fence. Second backhand I threw went straighter. Still a pretty easy backhand upshot to the basket. And then these forehands are close to the fence, but they still set up nicely for some backhand upshots and they get around the corner a little bit more. So I actually don't know what I like better. I kind of like the forehands better, so I don't have to throw anything over the fence, and so I stay out of OB's way the entire time, and I still get roughly in the same landing zone that I would get with the backhand, and it's a safer shot. Depends on the wind. I think if it's a headwind, I'll throw a backhand, something overstable, just spike it in. I think no wind or tailwind, forehand might be a really good play. We'll see. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this video here at WeMo. Just want to do a little practice round for the upcoming doubles tournament. I don't think I'll be able to fill in the tournament, but I did want to at least get a practice round and get some content out there. And I'm trying to do as much content as I can, but I did start a new part-time job working as an EMT on the ambulance service. So I've been doing a lot of hours doing that because to supplement my broadcasting stuff, since it's kind of the off season, I'm not getting much broadcasting work right now. So it's kind of taken up a lot of my time these last couple of weeks, but I'm trying to fit in some time to come out and play and film some content, so stay on the lookout for more. Catch you next time.